Just quickly work with program. Hello. Testing. We should start by 2:30. Thank you. Coffee session. We need potete compare un table. Any question you want, you write the question and just put it out there. On the first presentation, second presentation, and this just forget. In case you have the time to ask any question, so this is the opportunity. Yeah. And inside the room. Yeah. Very bad. No, I think it's not down. No, it's okay. I can find it. No, I'll bring up here.
Find the phone again, huh? That's good. Harry needs to make an announcement. Okay, I think we should start now. Huh? Tell them, Mr. Dr. Keith to come up. Oh. Tell them to come up.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is 20 past the hour. We will all assemble again for the afternoon session. The afternoon session, as indicated by our program here, will be led by a moderator. We will have a number of rapporteurs and taking on and others within the Department of Agriculture and Livestock. So without any further ado, I'd like to call upon Dr. Kit Gagal, who is a livestock specialist within the agriculture. We'd like to call upon him and to lead us in moderating the program this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Kit Gagal.
Thank you, Deputy. Mr. Hoppo. This afternoon session, we will start with our commodity corporations as part of the agricultural sector in implementing the National Agricultural Sector Plan. So, without further ado, I'd like CIC Coffee Industry Corporation team to come up to the front, where they will present to us how coffee industry is aligned to the National Agricultural Sector Plan, as well as the Medium-Term Development Plan 4 and other government development strategies. I'd like to call on Stephen Tumai, Sir Stephen Tebo, Rebecca Non, Smith Baba. By the way, Stephen Tumai is the Chief Operation Officer for CIC. Stephen Tumai, can identify yourself. Stephen Tebo is the Special SPPO. Yeah. Rebecca None and Smith Baba. And we have Mr. Potaja Hongunyaka representing or linking coffee industry with growers, private sector, coffee growers, coffee processors, coffee value chain actors working for PACD, which is the World Bank funded project. Now, I've done some research on CIC lately, and I'd like to introduce CIC to all of us for us to understand who is CIC, how were they formed, when they were formed or established, and why they were established. I believe that is the spirit of this conference. So, CIC, a Coffee Industry Corporation, was established in 1991 by an Act of Parliament. That is the legal framework where CIC is established for. Their mandate is to regulate and oversee the development of the coffee industry sector in Papua New Guinea. CIC is also acting as a company by having CICL, which is Coffee Industry Corporation Limited, under IPA. So CIC is not only a corporation, a subsector of the agriculture sector, but it is also a private sector with a limited tag at the end. CIC is governed by a board that was established by the same Act of Parliament in 1991, CIC Act. There are 12 members on the board who govern CIC. And I'll let them talk about their operations and their management and how they working in the coffee industry. But for us, I like to say that they correct my statistics. CIC contributes 1% of the world coffee, or PNC actually. PNC, not CIC. Papua New Guinea contributes 1% of the world's coffee. And CIC reached out to 2.5 million people in Papua New Guinea. So 2.5 people engaged in the coffee sector. And CIC contributes 6% to the export revenue of agriculture, to the GDP of Papua New Guinea. So with that introduction, I would like to call on the main speaker. I believe it is Stephen Tumai, the Chief Operation Officer of CIC. I've been told to come to this mic. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, give a big applause to Stephen Tumai.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Kit Lada, Dr. Sediban, esteemed colleagues from all the commodity boards, government agencies, the private sector reps, all my colleagues from the coffee industry, and other agricultural sector organizations that are here tonight. Afternoon. It is my pleasure to come and stand before you to present you the CIC's participation in the national agricultural sector plan and before plan and other plans that are working already. In fact, it's a pleasure for me. Apologies from my CEO, he is not able to make it, so I have to stand for you. And to stand before you, esteemed colleagues and knowledgeable people in the sector, is an honor to me to stand here and present to you CIC's participation in the agricultural sector. CIC Coffee Industry Corporation Limited has been succinctly explained by Dr. already on how we came into being and how we are part of the national agriculture department. My presentation will be as follows: the layout, status of policy and legislation, action. Plans to achieve KRS and targets set in 1954 and National Agriculture NASP 2024 to 2023, 2024 to 2030. Anyway, monitoring evaluation framework, baseline information, capability status in relation to CIC strategic vision plan 2025 and 2029, and the National Coffee Development Roadmap 2020 to 2030. Our organizational structure and manpower capacity, research and extension capacity, and functionality of the CIC board. The National Coffee Policy 2024 to 2033 has been approved by NEC on December 3 to 6, 2024, dated 18 December 2024. We are awaiting to launch that program. Another policy document, legislative and policy document is a Coffee Industry Act that we have drafted instructions that has been completed for the new Coffee Industry Act 2024. Drafting instruction is ready to be presented to NEC, awaiting issuance of certificate of compliance from Treasury, and also upon which state will issue a certificate of necessity. So we will launch this now, however, making for law. Action plans to achieve KRS and targets set in MPDP4 and NASP 2024 to 2033. Key thematic areas: increase production, improve productivity, quality improvement programs, value adding and product diversification, coffee marketing systems, downstream processing and value adding, information management, institutional capacity building and strengthening. Key thematic areas will be delivered to CICL key deliverable programs. We have 6 programs in the coffee industry that we are managing today. There's SME and development, research and innovation, ICT, corporate services, regulations and compliance, and research and innovation. So these are the key CICL deliverable programs that we are managing at the moment. We have PIP projects, and then we have a key project, which is a PACD. These are some of the abilities to which we will achieve our KRS and targets set in the MPDP4 and NASP 2024. We are going into partnerships with different people, MOAs, MOUs, MOC with districts, provinces, and other very key stakeholders, which are private sector people that we are partnering with, like the National Airlines, Cooperating Coffee, and all that.
Yeah.
So we're going into a partnership to achieve our milestone targets that are set in the partner. There are some international partners that we are partnering with, and they are Asia, APEC, and the World Bank with the PACD. Lacuna Action plans to achieve KRS and target set in MPDP4 and NASP 2024. Those are some of the projects that PIP projects that we are managing. Coffee Access Roads Program, National Coffee Development Program, Large Scale Coffee Plantation Rehabilitation, Coffee Research and Market Development Program, and Downstream Coffee Development Program. So these are some of the MPDP4 KRAs and MPDP4 targets, and for MPDP4 and NASP. So the key result areas, the number of key performance indicators, and the number of coffee plantations rehabilitated, total length of coffee community roads constructed, number of coffee export processes constructed in operation, necessary of a number of coffee processing facilities operated by international standards, number of MSME and MSC coffee value chain actors supported, coffee seedlings distributed, number of registered coffee cooperative societies, and total volume of coffee transported to the markets using freight quality subsidies program. Yes. Implementation framework. Something is not right up there. But we have our output and activities, month of activity completion, key performance indicators, quarterly schedules, budgets, and action officers. No, participating agency there. Something is not coming with but in interest of we can give us a report. So, yes, that's for copy access road. This is national coffee development program. So in the coffee industry, we hope to develop some number of SMEs and SMEs in the coffee value chain, and we support them to go into that area of business. So by 2025, we hope to have 60 MSMEs in the first quarter, and the budget allocation target. It's so we will be looking at number of coffee savings under the coffee development program. We are looking at number of SMEs and SMEs retain acres supported, and number of coffee savings distributed, number of hectares of coffee plantation or coffee development, new developments, blocks of plantation blocks rehabilitated. More than 5 hectares are or less than 10 hectares are considered as blocks, and small amount of coffee farms rehabilitated and administration overhead technology. We are looking at around 30 million for over implementation period. These are key performance indicators there. So like during the implementation period, we have 60 SMEs by 2025. 60 SMEs are equipped and capacity 60. And then we are looking at savings. We hope to issue 10 million savings by 2025. Number of hectares developed, about 4,000 hectares developed in 2025. 2,000 hectares blocks rehabilitation and 10,000 hectares small farms rehabilitation. Yeah, okay, next. Coffee Berry Bora. Coffee Berry Bora is seen as ongoing activity, so we did not get any money from the national budget for 2023, 24, and now 25. But we are using our own resources to fight CBD. That's Coffee Berry Bora. Honey coffee, natural flavor. These are new things that we are trying to bring into the coffee industry as honey coffee, natural and flavor coffee. The key performance indicators are like three flavor infusion trial conducted already, one honey coffee trial conducted already, one vanilla coffee flavor infusion trial, and pineapple coffee to be offered. Geisha coffee. We are into granular Geisha coffee. I think the core brands and some other people are already doing Geisha, but it's still not been distributed for commercial farming yet. We hope to get this rolling in 2025 and onwards. Ascara coffee is tea that they make from the pulp of the coffee. We also tried in there. So I think Devi Yalu around here is one of the people that is trying the Ascara coffee. Tissue culture. That's for coffee research and market development. So that's tissue culture. We want to do mass propagation for especially the Robusta coffee. So we have a station in Omuru and in Ayura that I'm taking the task there. PRP units monitor and check. It's a PRP funded funded programs that are coming for coffee research. And over administration over. Okay, that's. Downstream coffee development program. That's, I think we have already got 2 people on the market. There's Sokomo Coffee and we are trade. But there are small ones that are already happening with support from PACD and PPAP and CIC. That we are assisting these people to go into downstream processing. To meet that sort of service. So every year. So key performance indicators, two factories are already operating by international standards. And also some other coffee factories that are, two coffee factories selected to undergo external ISO certification. External ISO certification agencies identified for certification and all that. So the number of downstream processes are assisted to supply local coffee and for domestic consumption. We have 4 factories that we have already assisted to supply domestically. So we are looking at identifying 4 factories that will assist to undertake downstream processing in 2025 onward. Next. Coffee price support. We started that some time ago. It's a stop-start kind of thing that has been going on. We don't have now that prices are very, very high. We are not utilizing the coffee price support system today, but we have Coffee Minister and our team. We are working together to develop a system where when people will go and sell their coffee, it's called a green gold card system. Just like when you come from overseas to back to PhD, they give form to people to go and report back to Promotion Authority or something. Likewise, if people come and sell their coffee, they will be registered, and then if we have to pay price support to that mechanism. So like somebody comes and sells their coffee at the factory will get a registration, and then it will trigger a bonus payment or price support payment. Certifications of Rainforest Forest Alliance, that delegating program. We have that under coffee price support program. Coffee workers and professors, mini hala installation and commissioning. Mini halas are very small green facilities that we are rolling out to inaccessible areas. Because when people bring in their coffee, with the parchment, they bring in about 20% rubbish, which they pay for it, and then when after having it, they make a lot. So what we are trying to do is get the machines to those remote areas so that they just bring in the green so that they get billing for money. Coffee revenues, we are targeting centralized processing units for cooperatives, especially cooperatives, so we control the quality system and how they process the coffee to, especially with the CBD, we are rolling out a program where they put them into silos where the process come out with the CBD. In fact, the coffees are removed, and then we only produce good coffee for market. Many others installation commission. We will be commissioning the already 4 licensed mini halas sometimes next week or within this month. Okay, we will under the project and planning, we have every thing that goes around and monitors and evaluates money spent against the targets achieved on all our PRP funded programs. Next. I'm Another project that has been funded in 2025 is a large scale coffee plantation rehabilitation plan. So we have done an expression of interest for people who have large plantations and blocks, and people who want to develop new plantations to farming and partner with us to go and rehabilitate and plant new coffee plantations. But we have not put the advertisement out also. We have not received any money, so we advertise and people start bringing their application and then we might soup ourselves in the food and people not be very happy with us. So that's why we are holding on to it until when we get some funding, then we advertise and screen according to the requirements and that are required to be qualified to access funding from this program. Yeah, those are highlights. Questions from Mama said, I'm giving a subdivision. We hope to have this number of hectares rehabilitated under this program, and maybe plant new plantations. And of course, taking into consideration the requirements by the EUDR, deforestation regulations. Okay, let's. Freight subsidy program that we have been running this program for over 20 years already, but last year we did not get any money, and this year we did not even not even money. But I think the money is with the national planning, so we have to compete for this budget monies, but with other commodity boards so that we roll out a freight subsidy program. Looking from this conference, that program has been very successful. The returns on investment has been like 7 kilo to 1 kilo. So we spend 1 million kilo and we generate 7 million kilo, something like that. This average we've been doing so far 2 months. We do sea freight, air freight, land freight. So under the same subsidy program, we are doing the mini halas so that we take it out to the rural areas, inaccessible areas, so they mill the coffee and then they just bring in a green bin instead of bringing all the rubbish and then making a lot of one drive shells are moved. So that's the budget requirements there. We have not put a lot of numbers in there because we are depending entirely on our internal revenue sources from levy and other licensing fees to roll out this program. Next. Okay, baseline information for the CSCF. The industry players are the key industry players are the smallholders, lockholders, plantation, process exporters, process and manufacturers, licensed dry factories, wet factories, unregistered road buyers, and coffee SMEs. So there are numbers. Smallholders make up 524,000 and contribute about 80% of the export. Lockholders has 15%. Plantations, we have 65, but maybe less than 5 are actually working, and they produce about 5% of the coffee exports. Registered exports, well, 90% are nationals, but they export only 20%, while 10% are multinationals, but they have the capital power, so they export the 8% of the market. Next. Okay, this is a very interesting graph here. You will see that the production data, the brown color is the actual productions that we have registered, and you will see there's a steady increase in production despite the onset of CBD and all the other issues affecting the coffee industry. There's a lot of doomsayers that say that coffee production is declining. No, it's not. If I was to take care of the 40% decimation rate by by CBP, it should be a downward trend. There is something that, things like, PAC, CIC, and other stakeholders that we agree that is already addressing the same CBP issues. So, instead of declining, the production is increasing. Likewise, the green bus are the export field. Interestingly, in 2024, we about one quarter of the exports, production figures did not get exported. Maybe that, I think it's because of the price. When people are holding back coffee in stock, using the grain pro bags that can store green bean coffee for 2 or 3 years. So that's probably one of the reasons why the export figures are not as high as the production figures. Also, there's a lot of increase local consumption, and of course, our friends shipping coffee out in containers and animal values and all that time. So these are some of the key issues that are contributing to the lesser export than the production figure that you are seeing. Capability status in relation to CIC traffic vision plan 2025 to 2029, we have that. We have revised it and we will be taking it to our board, who are looking at the government, perhaps ex-official members, and then they will approve this for 25 to 29. But the National Public Development Roadmap is also there 2020, 2020, 2023. So all our plans are drawn down from the NASP, MTD24, and the Mission 2050. They are aligned together. So that when we operate to achieve some of the targets that are set in those different policies. We have 6 functional programs as a regulation compliance program, corporate services program, marketing and partnership program, SME and development or extension program, and ICT, and the project management unit headed by senior specific outcomes, indicators, targets developed and budget allocated for each in 2025. We've done our annual operational plans already with the budgets, which we will be presenting to the necessary people, the national elected. Okay, we are remodeling our CSC accounting process, here both to work programs and PIP accounts and activities. So our work plans and our budgets are aligned so that, like, unlike before where everything was lumped in one basket, where we were drawing down funds to do everything. This time it will be specifically managed so that each program manager will be responsible for their own budget, and they understand or overstand the budget committee will hold them accountable for it. So just some of the strategic changes that is happening in CIC to address emerging issues. Last time we have 155 currently. 40% is made up of extension officers. Research has 20%, regulations 15%, and admin and support staff 37%. 58 unfunded positions since 2021. TICL structure in 2025 is in progress. We hope to change those numbers by increasing the extension officers to maybe 1 officer per district. So after our restructure is completed, then that will trigger needs by CIC to on where our needs are so that we can do more people especially those 50 and 100 officers, so that they go and fit in to achieve some of those objectives that I have already outlined. So the job descriptions will also be revised to with higher goals and objectives of the different plans that we are discussing. Next. Functionality of the CIC board. CIC board election has been conducted. Board members to be announced as soon as formalities are completed. Currently, CIC board it's operational by the ex officio government reps. Okay, these are some of the, plans that we have, are currently available. There's no coffee development roadmap. Coffee industry cooperation strategy between 2025 to 2029, and the CIC, annual operational plan and budget. Conclusion, 4 months into 2025, with zero funding from all PIPs, large-scale contestants rehabilitation will be advertised soon, but failing funding. Unless through CIC and PACB model. We see that the PACB model is working to rehabilitate plantations, so we will incorporate that. I have no in our program, so we will carry out run on plantations and new developments. We have set up a coffee technical evaluation committee. It's in operation now. So all PIP funded projects will be managed by this committee. That's a coffee store, lecture subsidy, national coffee development, and all the will be oversighted by the technical person. Oh, you will say that's the answer. We will know. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Stephen Tumai. Ladies and gentlemen, and Secretary for Department of Livestock, Coffee Industry Corporation has given us the outline of how they will contribute to the target of 20 or 30 billion in the next 10 years. So I think there's more to come on CIC. Thank you, Team CIC. The panel, after the main presentation, we have a panel of discussion. The panel will be here for a few questions. So if you have any pending questions, you can ask the panel. Or if you are too shy to ask questions, there is a notice for the board over there. You can stick your questions for CIC or your suggestions for improvement in CIC. Please stick them on the wall there, so that we can take it down later and CIC can have a look at the good contribution to make. Please do that. I would like to ask Stephen Tebo to add on to what Stephen Tumai has presented overall. Okay, but Stephen Tumai will run down if there's anything that you'd like to add on to Coffee Industry Corporation's contribution to nation building.
Thank you, Dr. Okay, thank you, Chief Operation Officer, Tumai, and the team CEO for your presentation. I'd like to add on a few things that I think the CEO may have looked in the presentation. Firstly, I'd like to just bring to the attention that if you go to the slide number 3, you will see, because we are talking about alignment of MTDP 4 and the National Agriculture Sector Plan. The alignment shows in table 3, where our programs are aligned to the MTDP 4 and the National Agriculture Sector Plan. That's like, yes, yeah. That's there, where you see the deep number there. That is from the National Agriculture Plan, National Agriculture Sector Plan, where there is alignment to the achievement of each of those targets, and also the MTDP 4 that they are under those programs. Okay, for the CIC, we have done something different to what used to be done previously. What we have done is for the we have our programs, the 6 programs that I mentioned earlier. They will also be doing the normal CIC way, and also doing some work on delivery of the PIP programs. But what we have done now is different. Like the PIP projects now will be considered as standalone projects. Standalone project with the clear outcomes and activities, and also targets attached to that, plus the budget. In that way, there is clarity on achieving the result. It's more focus oriented on achieving outcome, the activities, and the target set under the MTP4 targets, and also the National Agriculture Sector Plan. So that is indicated in the PIP implementation framework that my COO went through, the CEO. Let's start move on to the next slide, so I just need to give some clear on that. This is the coffee access road. You have the outcome there in that blue. That's the outcome, the list of activities there, and the key performance indicators plus the target, and that's the pattern. What we have done in relation to that is we have changed the way we do our accounting system, where the accounting system is now aligned to these programs. So this is now the outcomes and the numbering has been changed to accounting GL codes. So for each outcome, there is a GL code, and the activity is also costed plus the funds. So going forward, we are revising all the job description for our workers, I mean our CIC officers, and all officers will be tied to each outcome. All officers will be attached to each outcome, and whether they perform or not, they will be responsible for that. So all outcomes will be linked to that. In that way, everybody will not be doing things on ad hoc basis, but it will be outcome based. So funds and all that will be easy for reporting and all that. So this is something we have, like the first person I said, we have remodeled our accounting system to suit project-based reporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tebo. Now, let's welcome Mr. Potaisa Hombunyaka. He is the program coordinator coffee component project funded by World Bank under PACD. PACD is Papua New Guinea Agriculture Commercialization and Diversification Project. And we've been looking for model. Let's hear from Mr. Hombunyaka how PACD has reached out to coffee cooperatives, coffee farmers, bring them out from their little cells into commercializing them into commercial coffee producers. And maybe this is a model that can be duplicated or expanded to other subsectors. So let us hear from Mr. Hombunyaka how coffee industry the PACD project is supporting the coffee industry, the coffee subsector. And before I give the mic over to Mr. Hombunyaka, I've been whispered and I told that coffee industry is worth 750 million PNG Kina. I think that's the best achievement so far. Increased production. Another number coming up. 1.02 million billion Kina. 2022. Thank you, coffee industry.
Thank you, Dr. Gagal, acting CEO and COO. I'm calling from CIC, and ladies and gentlemen, before I go to a small presentation, I think at the end of the day, whatever we are doing here and saying here, and going to implement it all boils down to governance. Until and unless we have a good governance system in project implementation or in organization implementation, nothing gets done. A lot of us running organizations we end up enriching ourselves at the expense of our small people. At the expense of our small people. We'll get enriched while our small people will continue to suffer. It has happened. We all know. And if there's elephant in the room, let's be honest to ourselves and change our way of doing things so that we really serve the people that we are supposed to be serving, and not to serve ourselves first. On that note, when I joined CIC to PAP in late 2015, we had issues in the project where lead partners squandered funds meant for our coffee growers. My question is, how many of us sitting in this room have sent somebody to jail for squandering agricultural development funds meant for your areas of responsibility? I doubt none of you have. I arrived, took the bull by the horn, and facilitated, I only assisted, I did not push him, facilitated for one of our lead partners who was convicted by a judge in Goroka to spend over 2 years at Buhita jail for misusing coffee growers fund. And I'm still waiting for the second one to be prosecuted. And the third one. Soon after that, I checked out what was happening in the PKP project before I came in. There were a good number of others who also had ineligible expenditures. I went and had a cup of coffee with them. News has already gone out. You try to go to Buhita, or let's have a repayment schedule. You repay the funds back into the project account and let the coffee growers benefit from the funding it's supposed to be. They choose the later. They chose the later. So the PhD lead partners have been told, I'm waiting for one to show their hands up on the current project. There's no one willing at the moment. I don't think they'll be willing at all. Why? Because in the project, we have a very strong procurement system, very strong governance system in the project to protect the money that we get a loan funding from the World Bank. In the past was IFAD and World Bank, and now it's only World Bank, to protect our small coffee growers or the stakeholders' money that must be given to them. I should not be having a bigger sum than they. I should be thinner or equal to them. I get what I'm entitled to and not more than that. So it became a success story simply because of a very, very strong governance system. And that's what I want to impress on all of us sitting down here. We can talk everything and anything here. Unless we have a very, very strong governance system, driven right from the top and bring it right down, we will end up spending the money that we are getting from PIP or donor firms to directly impact and improve, contribute to improving the livelihood of a small growers that we are supposed to be aspiring to help to change their life. So that's it's NASP and what we're going to be doing over the next 10 years. The interest on governance. And I repeat, the interest of governance. So those of us in responsible positions in the sector, we must be honest enough to call a spade and make sure money that comes must transact right down directly to our farmers. Let's get back to the CIC. Thank you. Our CEO has made a presentation. A quick one, quick review. Dissect of the industry. You've seen our smaller coffee growers comprise over 500,000 coffee growing households. Our blocks only 50%, and that constitute 80% of our industry. They produce 80%. 50% comes, 15% comes from our blocks. And only 5% now is from the plantations. Do we have to be rocket science to know where we should be investing in the industry, to grow the industry? Where should we investing in? And I leave it to all of us educated enough to understand what I'm talking about. Where should we putting our investment for the coffee industry? Where should be the investment going to? Not all, but the statistics is there. To me, I will continue to mobilize coffee growers to coffee cooperatives. This is where the missing link is. We cannot expect to have the growth of the industry without mobilizing our coffee growers into cooperatives or organizations that are formally formalized and that work. We provide all our technical interventions, marketing interventions through that. They aggregate the production, bring it up, take it up to the marketplace, and graduate them from selling parchment coffee to green bean coffee. I think that's enough. It's 50 years now of independence. We must not continue to allow and expect to do the same old thing and expect a different result. That's insanity. Albert Einstein has told us already. They used to carry parchment, let's find a way to get them, mobilize them, graduate them, produce their coffee to green bean, and sell their coffee as green bean. So we don't talk about parchment. We start doing things differently. We have already started in the PPIB project. Farmer groups have already moved on. Parchment is not part of their life anymore. They've moved on into processing and selling their coffee as green bean, internally or even externally to a third-party export. In PACD, we are bringing more Papua New Guineans into the space, in PPAP as well as PACD, who are just processors. We are now empowering them formally in the PACD project. We started informally in PPAP, and make more Papua New Guineans become exporters. We just saw from the statistics very clearly in the numbers. 10% of our exporters are multinationals, are overseas-based companies. But they export 80% of the market for coffee, while 90% of Papua New Guineans exporting only 20%. So we must be smart and start doing something differently and bring those Papua New Guineans in the space. We must have more Papua New Guineans in the room exporting coffee. We must have more of them so that they will bring 100% foreign exchange to our country. These are Papua New Guineans exporters. We must start doing things differently. We cannot continue on and accept the status quo. I've already started and it's going through the project. Through the project, not only we are supporting the smallholders as we have, we looking at the new modality to work with plantation that fits our modality. And where I say, yes, we are talking about rehabilitating plantations, but let me tell you, I'm a son of a plantation worker, grown up in Eastern in the Cocoa Block. You cannot expect my child to be a plantation worker. I do not expect your child to be a plantation worker. Change of modality. You have to look at another way to get our plantations back into production. You know, land owner issues are inherent issue. The land owner issues there, I wouldn't even waste my money investing in that. It's unsustainable. After funding, everything is going to be lost. You have to find where the plantations are. Land owner is not an issue. We go into subdivision, contract farming, or lease farming, call it, and then get people to get into blocks, organize, produce the crop, sell the crop back to the owner of the plantation. We got some marketing agent. So when funding comes through, we tell them funding support to grow That's like the prudent partnership. With the owner of the plantation, we then ensure the prudent block will pick up farmers, and we push all the technologies down and then go to industry. To get the blocks out of it. But we would expect a 10 million kina, 20 million kina to go to rehabilitate a plantation. I can assure you for one thing, it's going to fail. My word. When the plantation is up and running well, the thieves will come and steal all the crop. Checking the issues. We have to look in a better way. But if I have a lot of money, my first stake, I will work with the more people who are the majority of the industry. And I will with another group of people. As I said, the middle players who are buying and selling coffee and processing coffee on behalf of these multinational companies. Get them, empower them, fund them, get the machineries out, get the factory up to a standard that meet the CIC requirement, export requirements. Then they give an export license and they can export. They cannot continue to buy coffee and sell it within the system. They have to graduate that to become exporters themselves. I think that's in that space for a project at PhD, we started last year. We registered 22 coffee cooperatives. Just last week, I left 42 more forms with PhD cooperative rankings. And demand is coming. By end of this year, will be registering over 100 coffee cooperatives. So that all interventions that we're going to do going forward will be through this formalized group. And we know in the past, it was only two cooperative, Magnet Holdings, USD and Morocco, came out of coffee cooperatives for farmers of this province. So are others. It failed, it didn't start, but this is the time to do it the other way around, do it better, and we'll grow the industry. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ompunyaga. For those of you who do not know Mr. Ompunyaga, he started with CIC as a coffee agronomist specializing in soils. And after 50 years, though he's gone senile, but he's still standing. And I hope he doesn't go insane. So there you hear this from a champion in the coffee industry sector. From agronomy scientist to agri-business actor player. Once again, give a big hand to him. Now that comes to the end of presentations. Now I will allow 3, 5, how many questions? 5 questions to the panel. Before that, are there any coffee producers, processors, exporters in the room so that we can recognize you? Please raise your hands. There's one here, but not a champion here. Thank you very much for coming. Amen. So I'll allow for questions. 1, 2, 3, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 questions. The one in front, Mr. Pahol. Sorry, Stephen Pahol.
No.
Saan hindi looking on, especially on now the last couple of years in the village. You know what man drink Nescafe mo? Or get a drink Copico or 3-in-1 or Blanca or whatever. Now, Mr. You know what coffee factory long working our coffee. What are you guys doing? Looking at the amount of coffee being drunk as 3-in-1 from Vietnam or other countries. It's not made in PNG. What's the blank one? It's not made in PNG either. Ask him that.
Don't scare everybody else.
Hey.
Thank you, Lord. Good question to you. On one looking for 3-in-1, a copy one, a 5-in-1, that's like I know. I mean, cheap, no, no, 3-1. Secondly, Emerson, the man looks out as well. We are promoting our nationals to go into downstream processing. Either politically or working staff, but to big player and we are trying to over coffee into downstream processing. So hopefully drinking culture of coffee will change with awareness and talks away. Thank you.
The one, sorry, let me start off, they go back there. Next to Stephen.
Thank you, CEO, na yung you at them, gusto mo na tayo the presentation na. I'm especially happy with the amount of work that is going into accountability of the funds and the programs that you'll be running, and also there's more outcome based and targets that are set. That's very good. I think I should commend you guys. It's the first time I've seen such a plan, so thank you for that. Let me like talk long accountability and responsibility. Yeah, like Mr. Bonaka has said. And with that, I don't know if you guys will answer this or the PAL department will, but I'm seeing there's as a stakeholder, I'm confused now. There's PAL, some of the money is in national planning, and then we have a coffee ministry, and then there's supposed to be a board, and then the CIC, and then it's coming down like this. So people are found out who will be responsible for what, and where does the board sit with regards to the ministry? Where does CIC sit? And if programs are run, what's the flow? Where does it flow, and who will be held responsible if such, I think is going to happen? So that's where I'm coming from, because we just saw Dr. David's presentation trying to limit the amount of players within the system. So are we making it better, or are we making it worse from a stakeholder? If I can get some feedback on that, thank you.
Thank you, Paulson. I mean, like acknowledging Marape, also government law appointing coffee minister. Loving that one coffee minister, vice minister, principal coffee minister, and now we've got another coffee minister, Ken, who is very, very passionate about coffee. And as we are speaking, there's a massive interest in generated in Southern Highland Province, Ella and Enga Province. So they will become the next type of coffee person. All numbers were all over to me, Okamea, and that you are Antap wanted Momasena, Centralna, Kermana, or all Watson. And then said, we've got planning coffee board and we've got ideas and we've got planning for system myself. Thank you. On the board formation, ministry, creation of ministry, it's a government of the day, it's looking of them, we are into ministry, cattle ministry, coffee ministry. So, prerogative to government, people are government will comply with the direction to current government. As for the board, in the last board meeting, which you were part of, board member, it is a plenty roadblocks come up now. People are walk or fully walk and people actually plan something. But we have completed the election process, and the expert vetting process also have a board of directors in place. or align pneumonia, quantum minister, not again, with the coffee authority act. They are trying to repeal the CICL act. Constitution to CIC put a new act in, which is the National Coffee Authority act. So when something I do not know, how will coffee law will work on law? But now you're there. You're still under CICL act, constitution, and we will work on them. No more. Thank you.
Thank you. Question asking Yan to the like Tokok, Yan, Superintendent for the time. David Duran. Right, David Duran is General Manager, Rumian Piggery, or Rumian Farms.
Well, I work with the piggery and cattle industry, but I just get interested with the discussion. So in the KRA presentation, I think one of those that were presented is improving productivity. So I'm just wondering, because what I read is that loss on parchment to green beans brought about by coffee cherry water is around 40%. Is that correct? I don't know, but if we are going to,
Yeah, not in the word, and so that means that's correct.
so if we are going to make an improvement in the productivity of our coffee trees, I didn't see something about controlling the coffee cherry water in the presentation. So we imagine if we are able to control or prevent the loss of 40%, how much that would be in terms of income from additional income from the industry. So I think the lack of extension to the coffee growers is something that has to be looked into seriously, because if they are given the right advice, then they'll have a chance to reduce the losses from the production. And I understand that there has been procedure or something that has been developed to combat the cherry borer from one of the government agencies before. But it's just simply lack of implementation that is still causing these losses.
Thank you, David. Let's hear a response from Coffee Industry, Rebecca.
Thank you, Minister responsible for Citizen Services. Thank you, CBP is here to stay. And the other coffee growing countries around the world, CBP is there, but they need it. There is no keyword, you cannot spray to control CBP, but it is through integrated pest management. IPM package has been delivered, it's homegrown. In the last 5 or 6 years, CAC has worked in consultation with ASEA, and we've already got this IPM package, CB module, CB management module, and thanks to PACD project, has printed some of these documents, and we've rolled out TOT for DPR offices, CIC assistant offices in the Highlands and other coffee growing regions. We brought them in and for other TOT, and CBP training is ongoing with CIC Excellence in Services, as well as cooperatives that PAC is managing. So the uptake is on the farmers. We are giving them the information and we're supporting what they're doing, but the uptake is on them to actually do it. So it's more or less like you go to manage it, and you look at berry. When you see a berry on the tree, and now that's when you have the CBPs there, but they are told to do frequent picking and garden sanitation, cleaning. That's important. So these are the practices that has to be done in the gardens to make sure that you minimize the presence of CBP. So there's a need for massive awareness going on. But within the financial capacity that we have, is some of the things that we've done so far. And the onus is on the farmers. Like I said, we've done trainings and awareness on these things. But back then in the 2017, when CBB was, it's like an emergency there. And that it has not seen us up until now. We're talking CBB here, but we are not giving a serious, like our government itself is not giving a serious thought about actually funding to really roll it out. But like I said, we've done it, and also the industry players, key exporters themselves, they're also doing it like Monty and other exporters. They're rolling out their own CBB management activities. And it's also a requirement for them to assist the farmers and other extensive what they have to do in order to maintain their license. That's part of the requirement as well. So that comes back to CIC as a regulatory institution. We make sure these things are happening, and the exporters are also responsible to make sure that they're doing the CBB management in their respective, or like what they're doing when they conduct the business as well with smallholder growers. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Dr. Omuru, we have gentleman at the back, and then Brian. So please pass the mic to Dr. Eric Omuru.
Thank you, moderator. I want to firstly comment the presentation by Mr. Dumai. There was an aspect of the presentation which sort of caught my attention, because I've been looking at the coffee, initially the coffee subsidy scheme, and then coffee surety, and then went back to coffee subsidy, and then now back to surety again. You gave a figure of return of 7 dinar. 1 dinar. One thing that I've noticed across all our commodities is that we don't seem to be aware of the cost of production of produce. It's across, it's not only coffee, but it's across the board.
Yeah.
My question really is two. One, what percentage of the total coffee production is generated through the subsidy program or the surety program? If you look, I did some work for another industry which I don't want to mention here, but they were talking more about how good they were in the trade subsidy program. Only to find, when I did the calculations, it's only 4% of the total production. So what would be coffee's component of the support that is coming through subsidy or surety of the total production? The second thing is that what are, because with subsidies, it's money comes, money goes. With surety, there's a degree of sustainability that you can provide through maybe funding mechanisms that you can create within the industry. What are CIC's plans for sustainability of such a program to support growers over the long term? Thank you.
Stephen Debo. Thank you, Dr. Omuru. For the FSS program, as the Chief Operation Officer, Mr. Kumar said, the return on investment is around 1 to 7, 1 to 5 to 7. So for 1 million kina, you spend either 5 million to 5, 6 or 7 million kina. So that's a return on investment. So on the total coffee, on the total national coffee exported annually, the FSS program brings around between 3 to 5%. 3 to 5% of the total volume of coffee exported annually is from FSS. That is why CIC has been saying that our FSS program, is a flagship program, and we've been promoting it, and that is one of the reasons why we've been getting funding for the last 20 years under FSS. One of the reasons, something that we also note in the FSS program is that the freight cost is very, very high, especially using the planes in the remote area. To truck planes to bring in coffee is very, very expensive. But we know that to maximize on the very high prices on using planes, we bulk up the volume of coffee bringing on the ship, especially on the molasses side and the popcorn side. That's how we make the numbers up. So we can equally serve the those people that are using, planes to freight the coffee from the remote areas and back up the volume from the coastline, where we bring in to the shipping agents. So that's how we balance it out.
Yes, and cost of marketing is also another factor to consider. Before we go to those figures, there is a very issue here with CPP. I'll allow Mr. Hongonyaga to respond and add on to the comment made by Rebecca to David Duran's question.
Thank you. The graph that was shown about our production, the increase in production. If CBP was really affecting 40%, we would have seen a huge decline from our coffee production and export. It did not happen. As we heard from Rebecca, there have been spreading and that's going on. There are other issues involved as well. We look back to where Cocoa Borbora was in 2006 to 2009. Cocoa Borbora was not born in Eastern Britain. By 2009, Eastern Britain was exporting 24,000 tons of cocoa. It dropped from 24,000 of cocoa to only 4,000 in 3 years in Eastern Britain. Economy was totally gone. We expect the same for the coffee industry. We've not seen it. So there is something that is happening. What that is happening, the information is getting out. And so we're able to, despite the 40%, where CBP is not where it is, I think we are seeing that higher the altitude CBP is not prevalent, more down there. And then the cultural practice that we are practicing. A lot of TOTs been going on under the project. In PhD, 3-4 weeks ago, we have our coffee partnership and things happen. Kabum, Bulolo, Wawari, we have partnership project there. We brought them for a TOT training. Our new partners, the extension officers, field assistants. We had it in Eastern Highlands for the Eastern Zone for farmers in Eastern Highlands and Simbu. And last week, for 1 week, the TOT training for our lead farmers for our Western Zone over there. So the information is getting out from other people. So we are good with CBP. It's here to stay. We will live with it. And in fact, we will improve our production by it. And it is a blessing in disguise. CBP as well as Cocoa Borbora. It's a blessing in disguise another than the other way. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. On that note, Papua New Guinea has got a very porous biosecurity. Even our biosecurity agent, Nakia, I think maybe it's will probably come down to the governance of Nakia. So that's another issue for another forum. Gentlemen at the back there, and our last one will be Mr. Brian. And Secretary will conclude.
Thank you. I'm Charles Curry from the Public-Private Partnership Center. It's a statutory body established by legislation, the Public-Private Partnership Act 2014 as amended in 2023. The office is to deal with infrastructure, not other commercial business. Because it involves long-term concessional type arrangements. We are looking at roads, bridges, airports, ports, that type of infrastructure, township development. In agriculture, unlocking the potential of agriculture productive land. You need roads, you need the power, you need the communication, irrigation. That's why you come in with the public-private partnership center. So to the private sector, there's an office established now. Look at unlock investment potential in agriculture, but the role is confined to infrastructure. That's basically why I'm here to represent that office. We'll be in full operation by next year. Currently, I'm in the process of establishing the PPP center, public-private. It's an ADB project. I'm working closely with the ADB to establish the PPP center. Now, just a point on governance. I think Treasury and planning are not here. Or I hope they're here, but I would suggest in terms of governance issues that the PIP budget is one of the most, I mean, in my opinion, there's no visibility of it. So in order to ensure that funding is appropriated at the same time translated into bankable projects, my suggestion is, and this is what the private sector you could make a suggestion, is that we remove the PIP from the Department of National Planning. And I suggest that a PIP corporation be established. That funding should sit in a PIP corporation where the private sector also sits. They screen the projects. All the commercial risks, the investment returns, that is done by business, not by the public sector. If you need a partnership, give the confidence. Bring the PIP out and put it under the PIP corporation. Singapore does it. They've got the Government Investment Corporation, which looks at no new project, apart from Temasek Holdings. And Temasek is Singapore. But their model, we can adopt it for public people. That's the first point I want to make. The other thing is the IFC and the World Bank are here. I would suggest that in the agriculture sector, there's been hardly no investment since the last one is Ramusuga in the 80s. All palm is a monogamous crop, so it's easy to plant and manage. But when you talk about coffee, cocoa, and the other sectors, there's a lot of issues involved with those industries. So I would suggest that for those sectors, in order to get the private sector involved, they should give their views. We should listen more to the private sector. That's critical. Because there's been no new investment in agriculture, apart from what Ramusuga. I may be wrong here, but those within the sector can, explain it. Why are we not getting investment? That is why PPP is important to de-risk the projects. We build the roads, we build the bridges, we provide the power. I mean, putting the halas in the villages, you need the power to run the halas for the coffee. So that's another thing. Infrastructure is also power. So the big problem in this country in terms of power. We can't talk about investment if those critical infrastructures are not provided. So let's look at things in totality. And then it's now the private sector. If the Connect PNG is now unlocking some of the agricultural land, where do we want to grow the coffee? Where do we want to grow the cocoa? That should be identified. Not Connect PNG into some areas. That's my view. Let's align expenditure to productive outcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to know that we have a representative from PPP, from is it National Planning? Thank you. Ambassador Brian? Yeah, input.
Thank you. I appreciate the very comprehensive presentation by CIC. This one, when you touch on some of the work programs, you mentioned about they say there's a program for research. If you could recall, when I did my presentation, we talked about the government restructuring the governance system of the agriculture sector. And the National Agriculture Research Institute was purposely established for any research. I don't know some of the research facility that National Research Institute has, but my thinking is that any research programs being pursued by all the commodity boards and the sector agencies should be conducted by the National Research Institute. Thank you. Oh, NARI, sorry, National Agricultural Research Institute. Thank you.
Thank you, President Brian, for your comment and your point is taken. Yes, we have two hands up, and also I'd like to hear from some private sector. Nancy, the first private sector rep, Dr. Evan. You.
Thank you. I am private sector, but not in coffee, but I work with a lot of smallholders in many places. In Oro, for example, there seems to be not on your list of an area that's getting support. Is that my misunderstanding, or is there a plan to support people in Oro?
Thank you. Oro is part of CSS program. We have officers there working with Oro. Going back to the FSS program that Dr. Omuru and others were alluding to, we have Connect PNG. Why can't we build a road to Marawakan? Why can't we build a road to Kaintiba or up to Minibe, the mountain ranges where coffee is there? If we spend money there, we are going to get the returns on investments. If we spend money to places that are of no economic value, we will never get the returns on investment. So we are strengthening coffee. We also are helping our remote farmers because coffee is the only means of income. So even though the cost may not be cost effective, but we do try to save our Papua New Guineans who are in areas that are inaccessible by road or sea. For the research, Ambassador, I alluded to the research. We have a research and animal program that has been in existence since CIC was incorporated in 1991, I think, somewhere around there. So maybe under the National Coffee Authority bill, there are plans to realign CIC operations to Kumul Holdings and some other things like research and innovation programs. So they might be breaking up CIC, but until that happens, we are now stuck with what we have, and we are going to go and work with it. Thank you.
Sorry, I quite finished. So we have agricultural data on farmers. We have about 8,000 farmers who have coffee in the den, don't have any assistance. So I'd like to make a link there. The other thing that I wanted to ask about is if you're going to use the fungus Vacina strain to help with the coffee borer, because that seems to help 69 to 95% on most coffee in other countries to reduce the problems of CBD, and it's actually quite easy to produce, and you could do that in the country.
Okay, firstly, your first question regarding Oro not getting enough support. I think Oro is under the southern region. If you've seen the programs, put Oro under southern region. We've got a target on how many seedlings that we produce and supply to farmers in the southern region, and also number of plantations to be rehabilitated in hectares. So it's we have for the Highlands region, Mombasa region, and the southern region. So it is included there.
Sorry, I think your question is very important, and point taken. And we have capacity issue. And I have only one officer in yes, only one officer in Kokoneta. And if I said already in the report, including me, there are only 22 extension officers. And we have 31 coffee growing provinces. And you would see that one extension officer per province. And we have 89 coffee growing districts. And You look at the Upper Highlands, you have Western Highlands, Eastern Highlands, especially got the export from Israel is about almost 50% of the total export. And I have only 2 extensive offices there. So capacity issue we have here, that's why CIC presence is not, you can't really feel it alone right across. But we're doing within the groups that what we can do with the cooperatives that we have and all that, but we do have real capacity issue here. Thank you.
So going to that with the public-private sector, I have 41 extension officers. I'd like you to train them and then we'd have more people. Public-private partnership. Let's do it.
Private partnership.
In terms of the fungal production, that's something that can be done in country. It's quite cheap. And that's something that together we could look for a donor partner, and that will reduce the bora at least 60 to 90% everywhere it's cheap to produce. And there's actually the fungus here in the East Islands.
I will take one more from private sector on this end, and we will come to Secretary for Department, Dr. Sethi Bang, to make his input, comments, commentary, and we will close the session.
Thank you. Afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for a beautiful presentation. I'll be talking especially about the coffee byproduct. I am Deborah Yalo, and I'm the one who did the Cascara thing. We started the project and it's now on the shelves in supermarkets in PNG. Unfortunately, we can't get it out or export it out because they need a certification from the industry. And we can't give them the real coffee documentation for real coffee to use for Cascara tea. And we have to have a separate documentation for the byproducts, especially the Cascara tea and the coffee cosmetics. So if we can have those also maybe in the future to assist these small things that we are doing. And it's not just me, but there's some who might want to export byproducts of coffee cosmetics across as well. And they would need the certification of analysis or the nutrient analysis. There's a lot of things to do before we export byproducts. From almost 5 years of doing this, I'm putting this down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Yaro. And I'll let Stephen be able to respond to that.
Thank you, Mr. Yalo. I think firstly, under the downstream processing, where the national government or under the MP4 target, we have a target of making sure we have two factories in Papua New Guinea operating at international level. What this means is that we have to bring in international certifiers from outside to come in and certify the operation from how the coffee products are being processed, so it meets international standards, and when it goes, it has an added value to the product. Likewise, for what you are saying in terms of Cascara coffee, it's a new thing on the market. It's a product diversification from the normal conventional coffee that we export. So those are some things that we are looking, because diversification and added value to under the downstream program is very, very important. We'd like to diversify the income of our farmers and those that are involved in byproducts. And I would definitely like to help you on that. Please talk to the regulations and compliance team. They are in there. I know you know them already. They will help you under the downstream program. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. There you are. Mrs. Yalu, you can talk to Stephen Tebo after. With that,
let me ask Dr. Sergi Wang, the Secretary for the Department, to make his comments, and then after him, close the session, and we will have afternoon tea. Tita Sol, you have coffee too? Yes, you bring coffee one.
Thank you, moderator. Dr. K. Gallagher. Thank you, the CICP, led by Student Command and Ebo and Professor Rebecca. And my brother on the right. Put your hands together for the team that has come forward. A lot of the work they're doing. Some of the people who have been associated with CIC have commented the improved reporting, the increased level of accountability, or the intent for that's come forward. So we all that in good stead and are happy for that. You are clearly outlining what you're doing now to what the targets are in the medium term plan for, and also the NASP. So we appreciate that. And so at the Department of Agriculture, and if we move more to the policy, the coordination, and the M&E, we want to work with you to ensure that those, through the M&E process and the coordination, that what you are targeting to achieve, and heaven help you, that you will get the PRT funding and funding that you need, that you will achieve those targets, and we will help you to be in M&E process. So you have our support. I was going to say to the two gentlemen, I think most of you who are here have been to this meeting with the Prime Minister and our Home Minister on the 4th of March, and we were given targets. I need to bring this target to you again. And on that day, the Prime Minister said, CIC must work with 300,000 new farmers. My dear friends, it's new farmers. And each family, and through the work of CIC, will earn 10,000 kina per year. He said the same today morning. So if you now multiply 300,000 families times 10,000 kina every year that they will must earn each family, it gives you already 3 billion in earning. Whether this 3 billion kina earning will come from the basis of smallholders, as my brother Mr. Pataisa is strongly aligned to, given his experience, or whether it will be from the contribution of extended production by the commercial sector, but it is 3 billion kina CIC has to contribute in the next 5 to 10 years, from where you are now sitting at 1 billion. You're now sitting at around 1 billion forex every year. You've got to move up to 3 billion. So how you will do that? These are strategies we need. My dear expert team and the others around us can assist you. I align with Mr. Pataisa, my brother, when he mentioned smallholder coffee growers in a valley, for instance, can be as aligned as cooperatives, and through which there's an exporter or aggregator working in that valley of smallholders that are there. And that this exporter or aggregator will through that exporter or aggregator will be funding input. And this exporter or aggregator will support the farmers in that valley. First, I went to the Arona Valley. To the Arona Valley that I went to near the Yonki. That. So well, that was such a group there of coffee growers. So if you think about that, that's a valley with, I think, I don't know the number of coffee blocks and growers are there, but that's a good number there. And you can put a exporter and aggregator, Anchor, for instance, or another. And through that Anchor, the support can come through a bank, NDB, or any bank, even the Green Climate Fund can support if they will abide to
the criteria of climate smart coffee production. But I think also that in that sort of setting is where what Dr. Erwin has said of the biological control of the berry borer will have more effect. More effect. Because these are valleys and groups of growers were in the one area and they're going through the same package of management in the interest of the exporter that's in that valley. And that you will also be among that IPM package spraying that biocontrol, the fungal. It may very well be this Bulgaria bassiana, the fungal control for coffee berry borer. I did spend some time in the Waihi Valley looking at a trial that was done by CIC and ACAR, and I worked with that team. We did see a decline in coffee berry borer in the gardens to which this is biocontrol, the Bavaria bassiana was sprayed. But the thing of it is, we all know as agriculturalists that every farmer in that particular valley or area needs to do the same of the application of the biocontrol. So I think it's just some thoughts, but DAL is with you. We will work with you as you get your money. We will also to achieve that target. In the next 5 years, we have to go up to earning of 3 billion. In the next 5-10 years. So I thank you.
Thank you, Secretary for Department of Agriculture and Livestock, Dr. Sergi Bang, and let us all put our hands together to the CIC team. For the presentation and for the interactions. And talking about capacity building, I'm happy to say that I have two of my former students and trainees, Stephen Tebo and Rebecca, that I trained, I trained some years back. Afternoon tea, coffee is at the back. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Secretary for Department of Livestock for afternoon tea and coffee.
Thank you. Just a little bit, you still want a question? I didn't, please on that. On that, next. So those who don't have the opportunity to ask. Because the question.
You are coming from, from my way. I'll give you my card. You are going once, right? In, now yet because what is possible, I cannot. Let me find out from the working with accommodation. That's just saying around that way. Okay, how are you, sir? You're capable.
One of them is civil parliament. We bring rice.
Right, okay. You are doing cattle then?
Yeah, we are doing.
How many cows have you got?
The existing ones, we already take the inventory of the existing, die out, and the interest ones. Three. We already have.
How many cows are you taking out?
Well, how much they give it to us?
All right. Well, then let's go and get some tea. Tea and then, yeah, I cannot promise you. I cannot promise you, but go that way. We go and get some coffee.
Yep, thank you.
No, pues sacamos, apakah Number, like, tomorrow name is testing. Yeah, tomorrow is like, we can start. Tomorrow, ano na siya? Hindi ba kasi? Pero piano.